in New York City. Kalief Browder, this brother, just committed suicide at the age of 22 about a month ago, maybe a little less. So, short version of his story: 16 gets accused of accusing a book bag. 16 get accused of taking a book bag. Somebody ran up to the cop and said he just took my book bag. He said he didn't know the guy from Adam, but he gets taken in. Bail, I think, was about $3,000. Family could never pay it. Dude spent 3 years in prison in Rikers Island, because Rikers Island is the city jail for New York. Right. So you have to go to Rikers for the city jail in New York. So he goes there. Family can't pay the bail. He's never charged, and they finally just let him go. Well, the reason it took 3 years is because what happens is, this is very common practice in New York. You have a lot of too many. I ain't gonna say a lot, because a lot of times people see when you have these conversations and people don't want to believe this stuff exists. They believe when we say, well, these things happen to black people and they haven't done anything, like you made that statement earlier. Well, they think what we're saying is we believe that all black people are doing nothing and getting arrested. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is there are too many black people, even if it's a small percentage of the overall community, that's being stopped for nothing. But that small percentage is enough to affect our daily lives. And it happens enough to where you will not go a lifetime without my story. My story that I just told you, it happened at 41. And with all my bad interactions with the police, like you said, with some level of education, I've been able to, not let those situations go on anything else. Plus, I wasn't doing anything. But doing anything didn't stop me from this last scenario I just told you. But too many people got that story. But Kalief Browder, common practice in New York, is stop and frisk. That's where it's famous at, because they went so hard with it. Well, they were stopping people, putting charges on them. Well, what happens is, because the New York system is so backed up, when your trial date comes, they have a loophole where they give you a stay of trial. It's like they just can't get to it. It's literally the truth. But what happens is, you stuck in Rikers and your trial date comes up, it's supposed to be real, right to a speedy trial. But like I say, because of the backlog, they had to stay a trial thing. So they push your trial back. This is just for your initial charge. So you a young kid, you a teenager, you in Rikers, and they like, okay, so you try to suffer through. Family can't pay the bail, so you try to suffer through. Okay, my next day gonna be this. They hit you with another. By that second one, they start trying to give you plea deals. A lot of kids take the plea because they don't want to stay in Rikers. Kalief never took the plea. He spent 2 of his 3 years in solitary confinement because they was being rough to him, because he would never take the plea. So everybody's in on it. Why do the guards know to be rougher on this kid? Why do they know that? They want him to take the plea, and he never took the plea. And at 19, one day they just says, you release. No explanation, no sorry, nothing. The witness, they couldn't even find him, even if they wanted to try him. Never got charged with nothing. But in America, how does Kalief Browder's situation seem? Everybody would have empathy for that. There's nobody in America that wouldn't have empathy for the Kalief Browder situation. But what we like to believe that it's a one in a lifetime incident, a scenario that, okay, the justice system messed it up that time. That doesn't happen too often. More times than not, people have done things, and here's a one-time scenario that's extreme. The reason we want to do that is because we want to compartmentalize it. Because if we were honest and open about how often the Kalief Browder situations happen, you see, Kalief Browder's is special because he wouldn't take the plea. That's how it became special. But if we were honest about how often kids don't want to stay in Rikers after that second time, I'll take the charge. I'll take the plea, because the plea lets you out. You just get probation. You didn't do anything in the first place. I'll just walk squeak clean from now on. Okay, how about that happened to you at 15? 18, life's a little struggle. You didn't get the job you wanted. So maybe you go do a little dirt. Yet America would say, well, you should never choose to do dirt. At no point. You should never choose to do dirt. But you're trying to make ends meet. So 18, you do whatever. Maybe you sell a little weed, get caught. It's not your first offense. It's your second. How much time you get? First time you didn't do nothing. You just took a plea. You're 17. Instead of getting a first time nothing, the time that you got caught at 17 with the weed, not just possession, they got you to the point where you distribute it. But if it's your first time at 17, if you little Johnny, first time, because believe it or not, America, the white kids don't come to our neighborhoods to get that weed. Just like you murder where you live, you get your drugs where you live too. So little Johnny goes in for the first time with the possession. What does he get? Go through this program, get this, and in 3 years it'll be removed from your record. Malik can't get that because at 14 he got a bullshit charge. Excuse the language. He can't get that because he got his second charge. Now he catches his time in Rikers with grown men. Only thing he learning in there is how to be a better criminal. Life changed forever. Not because of the possession charge to get a second chance in life. I won't ever do this again. But because of the first charge that was BS. I'm not telling America that in New York itself, I'm not telling America that that's happening to half the men. But it don't gotta happen but to 20% for a whole neighborhood to be along with how they're policed. You run to the police because they do it for you. All you gotta do is happen 20% or less. That's enough for the neighborhood to say, I don't mess with the police. Relationship severed forever.